All right, welcome back to the Real Revenue Show, where we discuss real business topics that'll help you grow and scale any business model. We're your hosts. I'm Malcolm Bowser. This is Andre Truss, and we are back with you again for some more fire. All right.
Some more fire.
So, Dre, how have you been? How was your week, bro?
Man, I've been good. I gotta keep saying that. I had like a little reunion this past weekend. As
Saw that.
as many people may know, I'm a part of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Saw that. I saw
Uh,
that.
I had a bunch of my younger brothers pretty much just come to town. It was like 30 people. It was pretty dope. We just set the whole house up. We just had fun all weekend and just enjoyed ourselves. So I was really excited about that. Renewed sense of energy coming into the week. I'm really pumped. I took off a couple days before that as well, just to make sure that I was ready. I was ready for a good weekend with the boys. So I felt dope. We all went out to the restaurant.
I saw that too.
You know,
Yeah, that's
have
fire. You could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was pretty dope. Had like our whole cornered all section, and then we just took over the restaurant. It was super dope because it was fly that day too, man. Like
Yeah.
everybody was in there, people was dressed up nice, drinks was flowing around. I forgot it was my place, to be honest. You know,
Yeah.
it was funny because I felt bad because one of the waiters like spilled a drink on me, and like she doesn't know that I own the place because I set it up that way. Right?
Got
It's
you.
like the more I'm layers removed from like different roles. So people get hired all the time to have no idea like who owns the place. They just know that they're working at an establishment.
Got you.
So she comes over, she spills, she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And like our manager sees it, she like beelines over. And she's like, "Oh my God." Like I was like, "Hey, like it's not that serious." But it
Yeah.
was just kind of funny. It reminded me like I legitimately own the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, she just spilled the drinks, not that big of a deal. I'm just wiping
Yeah.
my shoulder off." But my manager, we grooming her for greatness.
Yeah. That's
So she ran
hilarious.
over. It was kind of funny, but I just thought that was kind of fly. I forgot about that.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah,
How have
man.
you been doing, brother?
Listen, man. Listen, I'm excited. I've been working hard,
I
and
know why
it's
you're excited. I know why you're
yes,
excited.
yes, it's fine. Yo, listen, man. This has been a journey, and it feels like such a Oh, you want to announce it? You want to?
Matter of fact, hold on. Before we even do that, right? So
Okay.
before we go into it, I just want to preface, right? I'm super proud of you, brother. Like I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
keep
Thank
on
you.
telling you that every single chance I get to big you up and give you your flowers
Thank you, man.
personally over the internet, over the phone, through text messages. I'm gonna look for an opportunity. So as we get ready to make, as you get ready to make this announcement, man, beforehand, I want to be the first to tell you I'm super proud of you,
Thank
brother.
you so
I,
much.
I, I'll let you go ahead and jump in, but Malcolm has an announcement for all of you guys today.
So, guys, as you know, I am a part of a media company I put together with my father, my stepmom, and we have a podcast. We have a publishing company. We have a shirt printing company as well, and a YouTube channel that you see here. And we've been doing this for the past 7 years now. And today we are launching our family business course, which teaches families how to do all of that we do. And we put this together, and it's been over a year now because we did not want to have any shortcuts. We didn't want to shortchange you guys, and we wanted to make sure it was packed with all types of value. So that is available today. You can start with a free ebook that we put together called the 12 Principles of Starting a Family Business. You can get that for free, plus a free video training. It's 40 minutes. That's 40 extra minutes. You can go to www.urbanx.nyc/family, and you can get that for free. And then you can start and get into these courses and get into these lessons and how you can, with your family as well, you and as long as your family as well, put together a home family business that can translate to extra income for you and your family, and show you how family is the foundation to when it comes to building a family business. So I'm very excited to announce that.
So Malk is always, and this is one of the things I love about Malk very much. He's very reserved and humble in a lot of senses, and I'm not. right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a good balance because it kind of works out in that sense where we kind of keep each other grounded, but we also give a lot of feedback. Malk and his team has been working on this for a year straight. Not like, hey, we're on and off and we're thinking, no, like one full year straight because he's a perfectionist in the sense of as the family that he's built online, he wants to make sure that you guys have a product that you're proud of, that you're happy to see, that you're happy to, share with others, and that you actually make money and you actually bring income in from it. Right. This is not one of those courses which I've actually, looked at it myself. Right. This is not one of those courses that focuses on, we're going to give you some fluff. Like, no, this is if you want to start a podcasting company, here's the materials you need. Here's when you should be posting. Here's how you build out the information that you're doing. Here's how you put together the
Yep.
like. This is a detailed. I can take this course and take action right now. There is no like, hey, obviously there's always going to be mindset because mindset matters.
Oh,
That is
for sure.
1000%. That
For
matters a
sure.
lot, but there is no fluff, right? This isn't content to fluff or hey, think large. No, this is step by step. This is
Yes.
what you need to do to
Yeah.
have a family business, and that matters a lot. And the reason I'm politicking, so heavily for it is because Malk poured his heart and soul into this, right? Just to give out information to make sure that he's helping everybody else out because that's been a thing that he's received numerous amounts of comments on is how do we start a family business? Well, now you have the answer, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very pumped about this.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Today's episode is going to take a different trajectory, right? We had something planned, but I'm gonna throw a wrench in it. I'm gonna throw a wrench in it and just have this show be about Malcolm because I do want people to understand that this journey has been he's mentioned it earlier 7-year journey of focus, dedication, belief in self, belief in family, and I think that's super dope, man. So if I get once again an opportunity to shed that light on it, I want to shed some light on it, right? So, my first question, I'll jump in.
Okay.
What exactly made you want to start the media company?
All right, so my pops, he put out his first book in 2005, right? And I remember my mother taking me and my brother to the book signing. And first of all, like when he put out a book, I was 10 or 11, that was like astonishing to me. I'm like, well, he wrote his own book. Whoa, you know what I mean? And to know that's
And I
my
remember,
pops.
and I remember you gave me the copy of that, and it was super fly, bro.
Right, yeah. I was just like, whoa. So and then I remember him signing his copy to me. He said, Malcolm, there's a writer in you, let it out. That's exactly word for word what it said when he signed it. And I said, I had a passion for writing, so seeing my father write his own book was like crazy. And then I remember reading a book, and then on a cover, like on the inside, it said Momi Publishing. I was like, what the hell is Momi Publishing? He was just like, oh, it's it's you guys. It stands for Marcus, Odyssey, Malcolm, Eli. And then he said, if you read it fast, what does it say? I said, it looks like kind of like mom eat. Like he was like, yeah, so that stands for your stepmom Tanya. Like he said, we created this company for you guys, right? So this was '05. And '05, like I was 11. I was playing football, like so. I was just like, I have no interest of running any type of business in my life. I want to go to NFL. That's all I want to do. That's all I care about, right? So then, fast forward, life happens and things like that. I'm working. This is like my senior year in college. I'm working at Bloomingdale's, right? And those type of retail jobs, you strike up conversations with people like that. And that Bloomingdale's was in like a really wealthy part of Long Island. So I used to see people come in with money, like drop money, right? And you can start conversations with these people. So as I'm working at Bloomingdale's my senior year, and I got my degree in history. I'm talking to seniors from my school and things like that about like the job market and stuff like that. It's not looking real promising. And then I'm talking to these people who coming in shopping who drop $30,000 in the afternoon, like nothing. And I asked, what do you do for a living? And every time I've asked one of these people what they did for a living, it was always, I started this company, I created this app, I created this, I invented this. Nobody said, I work for this, right? And that's not to downplay, jobs. I never downplay a 9-to-5 job because it's all important. But I was just like, yo, yeah, like I think it just kind of like sparked something in my head. So this is 2015. My dad was actually in the process of putting out his second book, right? And I remember texting my dad, like I had a conversation with somebody at my job. And I remember texting my dad, like, yo, I don't know what UNT, and it's my stepmom. I don't know what y'all are doing with the company, but I want in. Like, I just want to help. I want to figure this out because I think, we have the opportunity to kind of create something that'll last, right? And I had aspirations of being an author myself. So I was like, you know what I'm saying? I use this as a stepping stone to do, to become an author myself, right? So I remember I had graduated, so we all went out to eat. Like, this is like our first official, like, business meeting, right? So we went out to eat, and we're talking, and we're going over how we can sell more copies of his book and stuff like that, how we can market it. And unbeknownst to us, we were still thinking, well, my dad, he was still thinking under the guise that it was still 2005, right? So he's still thinking about people he can wholesale a book to on like street vendors, local bookstores, and stuff like that. But it's 2015, and business has largely went online. And my dad, he had a online presence, but it was like mystique, right? He would come in and he would go and stuff like that. So then I took a digital marketing course in 2015, right? And it had all these terms in it, like podcasting, content marketing, blogging, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I think we should start a podcast. And my dad was just like, nah, that's too much. Like, I was like, no, I'm telling you, I think, just how the way business goes now, I think we should really focus on getting online and creating an online presence. Now, again, this goes into me thinking like, okay, I want to put out my own book as well. And I don't want to just put a book out where my friends and family come by and then that's it, because that's a really waste of hard work. So we started the blog in 2016, I believe, right?
Oh, hold on, before you go forward, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's important. I want to stop you there, right? So I remember when you started that blog.
Right.
Right, that was a really dope experience because you were putting out a different version of content than we've seen before in terms of like the topics that you were writing about, which I really appreciated.
Right.
So I always want to leave room for lessons. So throughout this, we can sneak in some lessons, right?
Right.
You were trying to transition in, and instead of, going for the gusto and being like, I need $30,000 to start, it was like, what's in my control? Well, I can get a website for pretty cheap, and I can write. And I always thought that was dope because we just need to start.
Right.
Right. That's where people mess up at in business. They don't start. They just do not start. You just need to start. Right. So the ground foundation of where Malcolm started at was UrbanX NYC, a blog site, just writing articles. That's where he started at. And now we can see where the journey continues. So from that blog, now I'll ask the next question. From that blog, how did we get here?
From that blog, and I think we were pumping out, my dad and we had a couple of other people who were like contributing, but we were pumping out like weekly content, like a lot of content. And at this time, I had a corporate job, so I was working at the Department of Education in the chancellor's office. So on my off time, I would write and things like that. And then I would say like a month later, we started the YouTube channel. Now, the YouTube channel, it just consisted of literally, if you can go back on the channel. It was literally my dad sitting in front of the camera. I was behind the camera. I would ask him questions like about current events, like just stuff that was happening. I'm asking questions to the point that people didn't know it was a father and son thing. They just thought it was my dad. All right, so we kind of built up a little bit of a following. And then my dad said, all right, well, it's time that you get in front of the camera now. So I started interviewing authors. I started interviewing people, who were doing, they had their own little products. They had their own books or their own music and stuff like that. So I would interview them. So I started to get in front of the camera. People still didn't know that it was a father and son channel and father and son brand. And then I think we got it to the point where we hit, I think, like 10,000 subscribers. And then the next year we said, okay, we're going to start a podcast. Like both of us on camera, let's start a podcast, right? And my pops, he said, yo, like everybody's doing podcasts. Let's do something a little different. Like, let's go live. Like, let's live stream it. And me, I'm just learning. So I'm just learning textbook stuff. I'm like, it's not what a podcast is. Podcast is pre-recorded audio, content. Then it goes up. Like, he was just like, nah, like, let's do something different. So I fought him on it. And then I said, all right, let's do it. Right. So our first podcast episode, I want to say it was like 2 years later. It was like in 2018. It was March. Matter of fact, we're coming up on it. We have to be coming up on it. It was March. It was around March 2018, and that was a slow build, and it was weird because we had built up our YouTube channel to the point where we were getting 30, 40, 50,000 views a video, and then when we started the podcast, it went back down to like 8,000 views. 10. So we had to build it back up. So then that's when I learned that audiences are different. Audiences like their content a certain way. So you have to
how they like their content.
Adapt. You know what I mean? Like, so people at first, they got used to just seeing my dad on camera or seeing me doing the interview. And then they had to get used to, one, meeting us at a time where, we're going live. And then two, just seeing our dynamic on camera. And then me and my dad, at first, the dynamic, it wasn't rough, but I was a little nervous on camera. Like, I can't watch those early episodes back because I just look like, man, like I just look bad. But yeah, you grow. And that's one of the things, like, we talked about actually in the course, is just like, you only get better by actually doing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't get better by.
There's no workaround.
You have to. There's no workaround. Like, I don't care how many videos you watch on it. I don't care how many books you read. Like, you have to just do it. So, and another thing, I kind of skipped this. That I remember, this is even prior to us even launching the blog. I remember my dad, my stepmother, and I, we would meet on Tuesdays weekly at 8 o'clock, no matter what, right? And sometimes a lot would get done, sometimes nothing would get done. But we met at that time weekly every single week, right? And I remember being frustrated, like, damn, I want to do stuff. Like, I want stuff to happen. I want stuff to move. And my dad was just like, yo, we've never been, mind you, he's had this company on paper for 15 years or 10 years at that point, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like, this is the most we've ever been consistent with running this business. So these meetings are what are, kind of strengthening that muscle of being consistent. And it's a built-in family, it's a built-in business meeting, and it's a built-in family meeting as well. Because prior to that, growing up, I didn't live with my dad. So I used to come every other week, then weekly. So I didn't like live with my dad full time. So now I'm older. I'm coming from college now. I'm older, so now I barely see him. But these meetings are built-in times for me to see him. Gotcha. Built-in times to catch up. Built-in times to see my little brother and see my little sister. Built-in this time because I'm here. So where was I? So okay, that's the podcast. And then during the podcast, during this time, I had quit my job at the DOE, right? In 2018. I quit my job, and
I'm gonna circle back to that.
Okay. So then I had to, I started to write my book before. I started to write my book in college actually, but I just didn't like it. Like once I stopped, once I stopped and came back to it, I was like, I hate this. Like, this is actually not really good. So in taking advice from one of my favorite authors, Ryan Holiday, he said, like, authors need to have something to write about. You need to live a little bit, right? And you can't just, force a topic to come out because then it'll seem just like that force. So during this time, we had the podcast going, and we started a segment called the Urban Excellence segment, right? We would highlight somebody within our community doing some amazing work, right? So then I remember one of my mentors, Steve Canal, he wrote a book, and it had some really big name entrepreneurs, and he interviewed them, and he gave their like principles within the book. I said I kind of wanted to do something like that, but on a more grounded scale with people who not like really household names yet, but people within our community doing some stuff. And I'm like, I know some great people. I went to high school, I went to college with some dope people, right? So then that's when the idea came about. That's when I hit some of my classmates up. I hit you up to do this project with this Urban Excellence project, as I called it. And you know what's crazy? And the funny thing, I didn't even have a name for it until like halfway in of me actually writing. Like I did the interviews, I'm writing it, and then I was just like, I don't know what the name is gonna be. And then me and my dad are talking about it out loud. I was like, wait, Urban Excellence, like this is a part of the brand, right? So, and I want to highlight that part there because that's when I really started to learn that although book writing, podcast, and YouTube channel all seem like separate things, they all coincide and flow together like really nicely if you apply the right framework to it.
So one thing I did want to say, right, is that I'm super like nervous about being on camera.
Right.
I don't think I've ever sugarcoated that. Just really just not who I am. I've never been in front of cameras. I've never been the guy to want to be in front of cameras. I tried a little bit when I was younger.
Right.
I didn't really, I was experimenting and stuff like that, but I've never been the one that's ever wanted to be in front of the camera. I more so wanted to focus on being the man behind the scene and walking into a room and owning everything in the vicinity. And people are like, oh, what is that regular guy doing here?
Right.
It's like, oh, that regular guy owns everything.
Right.
That's always been like my premise of
Right.
how I wanted to do things. So when Malk hit me up, that was the first time that I ever, and I don't think I ever told you this, but I'll say this now on camera, right? That was the first time I ever really saw myself. I never seen myself before. I never heard myself. I never really, in my mind, it was, I've been so driven for so many years from such a young kid that I'm just going to keep pushing.
Right.
And that was the first time someone gave me a flower and made me feel like, oh man, I'm actually doing something good. I should probably keep doing it.
Right.
That meant so much to me, man. I still have one of the clips from the episode. Obviously, I have the episode, but there's a clip that you had done for me for IG. And I watched that video pretty often because I was really nervous. I was looking all over the place. I was like, nobody's ever asked me about me. It was just always, hey, Trust is doing big things.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I remember like writing that book, and I just wanted to capture like everybody's entire story because I still feel everybody has a story to tell. You know what I mean? And I thought, and I still feel this way, that you guys' stories, you guys' accomplishments, even though they're not what we, like I said, like house name, home brand name, companies and, things like that. I was just like, this is going to inspire somebody to just start what they're passionate about. This is going to inspire somebody to, hit those goals. And it was funny because writing a book is a task, right? It's not easy. But writing about you guys' stories was motivation for me to kind of keep going. So it was a built-in give and take right there. You know what I mean?
Got you. So the segue, you mentioned inspiration, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go back.
Okay.
Right? What inspired you to quit your job? And then as a bonus, I'm going to give the people, I want some complete transparency on what you were going through during that time of quitting and transitioning. Okay. I want some transparency, Malk.
Okay, so I was working at the Department of Education, and my job was I was basically like a ghostwriter for the chancellor. So people would complaining about their principal. They, something crazy happened at the school. I would reach out to principal and stuff like that, superintendent, find out what's happening, craft a response, write it. Or sometimes the chancellor would go to schools, take notes from the schools, give me the notes. I would have to craft a response to the principal, right? But what people don't realize, like, it was a lot of like just depressing stuff that I would read all day long. That would be my job. All I'm doing is reading complaints. Like, that was my job. And even though, like, I was good at my job because, I can write, it was just like, it was a little draining, very draining, actually. But at this time, I'm starting a fledgling business. Like, I'm writing, I'm doing this YouTube channel with my dad, And at this time, we had just really started to make some money from online. So that was like the first time, I got like a check from YouTube, like over $300. I was like, whoa, I could make money online. And that was kind of the inception of it, because prior to that, I was just kind of thinking like very small, like maybe we can get some money for the blog, maybe we could like, sell some books. So I was thinking that way. And then I was just like, wait, I can make money from content that I'm editing. Like I'm editing these videos, I'm shooting these videos, I'm asking the questions. Wow, right? So as we started to gain more traction, I was just thinking like, yo, I would have way more time to get further if I wasn't at this job, right? But that's a scary thought. Like, quit it. It was a good job at the time. I was 22, 23, 24. And I'm still living with my mom, so like really no overhead. Had a used car, no car note, so it was very easy kind of living. Like I could really just stay here. But the thing was that kind of scared me was I was seeing people retire from my office, right? And I'm like, how long you been here? Oh, 30 years. I'm like, 30 years? I've been here 2 years, and I'm already tired. I was like, 30 years? Nah, I don't know if I could do this, right? I don't know if I could do this. And then you know what you get when you retire after 30? They give you a pen or a pin or something. I'm just like, nah, no way, no way. So I remember it was like I was kind of on the edge about it. I was thinking about it. And then my older brother, as a matter of fact, he was working at the Boys and Girls Club. And he really just started getting into real estate. Then he just up and quit his job. I was like, what? Whoa. And he was just like, yeah, I got some money saved. I think I got, and he just bought his first rental property. He's like, I think I can do it. So I'm like, whoa, okay. So that was one thing. And then I was having a really, really tough week at work. And it wasn't my fault. I kind of got thrown under the bus, office politics. And I was just like, yo, I hate this, right? So then I remember taking an early lunch. Seriously, I took an early lunch. I called one of my boys who had just quit his job to pursue musical engineering, right? So I thought that was ballsy as hell. I was like, oh, that's dope. So I called him, told him like what my dilemma was. And he was just like, yo, like, you and your pops, y'all got something going. I think you'd be good. So I was like, all right. I called my girl. She said the same thing. She was like, yeah, I support you. I was like, all right. I called my pops. My pops is no help. He was like, I was waiting on you to quit. Like, I was waiting.
You just now catching up?
Yeah, he was just like, yo, I've been waiting. So I was like, all right. Had to make that last call. You know what it was, too? Had to make a call to mom. So I'm like, all right, mom, listen. I gave her the entire game plan. I told her what we've done up to this point. I was like, ma, I got money saved. And the way the DOE works, if you have days off, if you have like time off, they pay you out for the entire, for all of that. I worked so hard at the DOE. I used to come in early and leave late. They used to accumulate that time into actual full days. So they had to pay me out for all of that. So I had a month and a half of off time that they had to pay me out for.
Oh wow.
Right? So you know what I'm saying? So I had some bread that, could hold me over. So my mother said, all right, Malcolm, I support you. I went right back in, gave them my 2 weeks. I gave them 3 weeks, actually, because I had some cases that I had to close out. So I gave them 3 weeks, and then I started my entrepreneurial journey, like full-time, being an entrepreneur. And that was, to this day, what I'm saying? It's still a scary thing. It can get lonely at times. A lot of people don't, I think, understand that. I think they romanticize it because, the Gary V's of the world, the Patrick Bet-Davis, they don't realize like this could be like really lonely because people won't understand you. People won't see it. Sometimes you won't see it
before you get to that point of being the Pat point,
right?
Bet, they don't remember that. Pat Bet blew off this video called 90 Seconds of an Entrepreneur, I believe, or something like that. And in that 90 seconds, he's showing the journey. He doesn't talk about it much, but that man was making thousands of phone calls, knocking on thousands of doors, and literally giving it every single thing he had for years before his insurance company took off. Right. So it's those type of things. So I like to bring it back to those moments because as an entrepreneur who's doing well, I still get scared. I still get nervous. I still get lonely on days where I'm like, okay, what happens? Paranoia starts to creep in. You start to feel like, okay, is it going well now? What's going to happen in the future? Because it's all on you. But the beauty of it is when it clicks and you surround yourself with friends. In my dark moments, guess who I'm messaging?
Right.
Hey, Malk, I'm having a dark day.
Yeah.
Hey, brother, I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Come over here, brother. I got you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So that's very important. And I want to emphasize that a lot. So that's why I was like, let's be transparent on that and let them know what's going on, because it's always like, yeah, and I quit my job. You know how difficult and how scary it is to go in there and
Boy.
quit your income
Mind
and be
you-
like, no money is going to be coming in anymore.
And here's the thing, too, mind you, the podcast didn't even start, right? So we were still doing YouTube channels. So this is February 2018, right? February. We didn't start the podcast till a month later. So again, I still don't know if this is gonna work out. I still don't even have a way to like directly monetize the podcast itself. You know what I'm saying? Like we're getting money from YouTube and stuff like that, and it's just, and my pops, like, cause my pops was straight. My stepmother, she's still working at her job, so my pops is just like, yo, just take it. Like, haircut money, gas money, take it. Like, to go out and go on dates, just take that for yourself. And I remember when we first started the podcast on YouTube, if you guys are familiar, you can get, when you go live, you can get super chats, which are donations directly to your channel, right? I remember I didn't even want to take donations to the channel because I'm just really like, I'm hard. I could be hard-headed and wanting to do things myself. And my dad was just like, yo, you quit your job, you work hard. This is like, you work hard, you deserve this, right? So we enabled the feature to get donations, and he gave a speech during a show, and I was embarrassed as hell. And about me quitting my job and me welcoming donations and stuff like that. So that was actually a lesson in humility, like being humble enough to be able to get help. You get what I'm saying?
So hold on. That's a bar, bruh. Right? So being a lesson in humility and being humble enough to get as well as seek help.
Yeah.
Right? This is one of those things that matter, because let's use you as an example, right? With the super chat. A lot of entrepreneurs feel like, oh, I don't want any handouts. But if you think about it from the consumer standpoint, let's just take you out of it. Let's just take your feelings, take your thoughts out of it, right? If I'm a consumer and I'm enjoying this content,
Right.
Like I love Power,
Right.
right? That's one of my favorite shows.
Right.
If Power was to say right now, hey guys, unfortunately, we don't have the budget. If you would like to keep Power rolling, we need $1,000. They would have got that check immediately from me. Not because I care about Power, their lives.
Yeah.
I'm selfish.
Right.
I want my show, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs need to understand that when you have proof of concept, getting help isn't for you. They're not giving you help for you. It's for them.
Right.
Right? So it's okay. I say all of that to say I know I'm making light of the situation, but that is something a lot of entrepreneurs face, right? Is wanting help but not feeling like they can reach out to it for it. We're not feeling comfortable, and that's why we're creating the space now to be able to allow people to have a safe space. That's why Malcolm and I try to be transparent.
Yeah.
Try to let you know that it's scary. Try to let you know that you're gonna come to a point where you might need a bill paid, and it might be your customer who does it. Right. And it's not like you're going to, hey, I need my phone bill paid.
Right.
Like,
You're right.
right. But it's like, hey, the channel, which is in essence you, or the business, which is in essence you, needs it. And if you want to support this business, this is how you do it. So I'm very happy that you mentioned that, humility and being humble enough to ask for help.
Yeah.
And, now it's years later and you're in a predicament where you're about to offer help to thousands of entrepreneurs and individuals trying to create, family businesses. This is madness, bro.
Yeah, listen, man. And then we do the podcast, and then like my dad goes, yo, the next step would be to kind of sell merch, right? So this was a process, because I remember, he comes up, he goes, yo, like our brand should be urban excellence, right? And what that encapsulates, how that, how we just view excellence within our community and how we should celebrate it, right? And he literally sat us down. He goes, I think this is gonna be a moneymaker. I think we should really like zero in on that. So I remember reaching out to a bunch of different companies, like print on demand companies that, take your design, put on a shirt, somebody orders it, they take their cut, you take your cut, they ship it out to them, right? So we tried that out for like a month. And you know what's crazy? If somebody has one of those early shirts, I would love to if I would love to see a picture of them, because some early shirts were rough, right? And that was the thing. Because I remember my dad and my stepmom, they really wanted to be a part of the production process, because they're saying like, yo, listen, we don't want to give out trash to our community. We even like, I remember we got a sample and they just sent it to us. They just sent us the shirt in a black bag, whatever. It wasn't folded. It wasn't a thank you card in it. It was just thrown in the bag and sent to us, right? My stepmother was like, unacceptable. Nah, we could do this ourselves, right? So I was like, man, I was looking for every way not to do this ourselves, but it's looking like we're gonna have to do this ourselves. So
The pain that comes from doing things yourself is unimaginable.
So my dad, he calls, this company. He gets in contact with this company. They have, the equipment, the shirt, the heat press, the vinyl cutters and stuff like that. And it was a little bread. So he goes, yo, do you believe in what we doing? I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, we all gonna put our bread up to do this. I said, I bet. So that was scary as well, right? Mm-hmm. So we get all the equipment. And then we kind of hinting toward our, our podcast community.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, brother.
Yeah.
Was that your first large scale investment in yourself?
Easily, yes, easily.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that.
Easily, yes. And prior to that, I remember like it was buying a new laptop, but that was it easily. And then we kind of hinting, because we were doing a show just once a week at that point. We hinting at our community, we gonna have some merch come in and stuff like that. So then my dad, like, I think on the fly, he goes, yo, for Black History Month, we're going to do like a whole big sale, right? And my pops is famous for this. Like, he would literally just announce something in the middle of the show, don't talk to anybody. And it was just like, yeah, we got to just figure it out. Which you know what? And I used to really hate that, but it puts me in a position to where I have to problem solve, right? Like, make a decision. We have to make a decision. We have to problem solve. We have to figure this out, because we promised the people we're gonna do this. We got to figure it out now. So I remember leading up, like we practicing, we learned how to use the equipment and stuff like that. And then we didn't have a company to like get our blank shirts from at the time, because it was a real short notice. We didn't have a company. One of our subscribers actually reached out, because she works for these facilities, and got us help with an account. And that's how we at the last minute, like 2 weeks before we even launched, had merch. Mind you, we told people that we were gonna launch February 1, and it's like middle of January. We have nothing. And then I had to learn how to put the shop on the website. So I had to put that stuff together. That was like the hardest week of my life. Like I think my car broke down. It was the worst week ever. Like, I promise you, like everything that could go wrong went wrong. But we had a hugely successful sale that February, right? That was our first 28 for 28 sale. Hugely successful, right? So us not realizing, mind you, it's only three of us. It's me, my dad, my stepmom, right? And when my sister's, when she's in town, because she was going to college, when she's in town, she helps out with, some of the stuff. But it was just us three. And us not realizing that we were tired, we thought that we had to just end the show and the podcast. And us thinking, us being stupid, we're thinking we just made a bunch of money from the shirts, so we could just do this for full time, right? We don't got to do the podcast, and we just got to do this full time. We stopped the show, show 50. We stopped the show. And immediately sales dried up. Like we would get it a couple here and there, but sales dried up. And that's when we realized that podcasting, YouTubing, book writing, and shirt printing all coincide together if you do it the right way, right? People don't realize that free content will probably make you the most money indirectly, right? Free content builds trust with you and your community. Free content gives value to where the people who are watching you are going, wow, this is what they're giving away for free. I want to see what they have that I could pay for. You know what I'm saying? Or I want to support so much because I love their free content. I want to wear their brand on me. Right? Gotcha. Or I enjoy listening. I enjoy hearing about stories of people doing amazing stuff in my community. I want to read an entire book of 11 stories compiled into one, right? People don't realize that, they seem like 4 separate things, but we package them together because that's literally how we've made our bones. That's literally how we created, at this point, multiple 6-figure businesses within that. You get what I'm saying? So, the reason why we even put these courses together, because like you said at the beginning of this, people would reach out to us all the time like, yo, I love what you and your dad do. I would love to have that relationship with my parents. I would love to put something together with my family. Can you show us? And we would help people all the time, right? And not really realizing how in-depth this was, like how we can we could put together an entire curriculum together for people to follow so they can do what we do. We've seen people try to start father and son podcasts. We've seen people try to start mother and daughter podcasts, mother and daughter blogs, YouTube channels, and things like that. Fathers or family, businesses, but they come and go just as quickly as they start. You know what I'm saying? And we realize that people they really have a really mistake. They really don't understand like how hard work this can be. They just think like, exactly. I see, Malcolm and Dot do it weekly. I could do that. Me and my son, we talk smack all the time. We could do that. Not realizing we are 268 episodes in.
I wish I had a bomb to drop.
268 times. People don't realize that my pops has kidney failure. Has kidney failure since I want to say 2005. Goes to dialysis 3 times a week. Sometimes we have a show. He is dead tired and cannot get up from out of bed. And we'll muster up the energy for that hour and a half to do the show. Then we move to 2 shows a week. He has to do it twice. Right? People don't realize just the struggle we go through. I had a kid, bro. You know how scary that was? To announce, to sit down. And I remember when I found out I was having a baby. I remember how I was terrified. Mind you, I was 25, and it felt like I was a teenager, like telling my parents, like, I'm going to get in trouble. I remember I told my mom, and then she started laughing. She was like, all right, okay, like, let's do it. I was like, oh, damn, all right. I got to tell my dad. And mind you, my dad is my dad, but he's my business partner, so I don't want him to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the hell he's about to say. My dad started crying. He was so happy. He was like, we're going to do this. Let's do it. Like, we're going to get behind you, and we're going to do it. And then, so this is late November when I found out. And then 2020, what happens? COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of this uncertainty around us. Everything. Like, anything that could go wrong was trying to go wrong. But we stuck to our principles. We stuck to our values. And we are still able to just, have this successful family business with family just being the foundation. Last year, my stepmom, who's our producer, people know her, like we call her Alejandra because we was firing her, but like, and that's a running joke with our podcast, but she is the glue. Like, she makes this thing run. She had breast cancer last year. So our timetable, I said we were working on these courses for a year, and something always stopped us. Sometimes we had to pivot. She had breast cancer. We had to figure that out. We had to do the show without her some weeks because she was too tired. You get what I'm saying? My pops and my stepmother at one point both caught COVID. We had to figure that out. You know what I mean? And I don't say that to for sympathy. I say that just as an example of the way family is, foundation. Family is the glue to this. You know what I'm saying? And we all ride for each other. Like, when my son was born, I was out for 2 weeks, and my dad had to get my other brother here, my Eli here, Marcus was here. Odyssey had to be filling for me for the show, and they looked, yo, I can't tell you how grateful I am to the way they covered my back, bro. Like, they really covered my ass because I was just so tired from dealing with a newborn. Like, if you're listening and you know how rough those few first months are, like, it's rough. You know what I mean? And I would come in dead tired. I was supposed to do something, didn't do it. I was supposed to help out with this. I couldn't do it because I'll be late or I have to go home as soon as the podcast is over or something like that. So entirely grateful for my family. And I feel like more people, especially the way the world is now, right? If we go into another lockdown, how many people could confidently say I can make money at home? You know what I'm saying? We could. You know what I mean? We were able to make certain decisions or not make certain decisions, if you know what I'm talking about, because we're at home. We work for ourselves. Not to say, after you take these courses, you quit your job right away, but it gives you a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more freedom. And Dre will tell you, the way I am when it comes to people I love, like I am fiercely loyal, you know what I'm saying? And those are the people you want to be in business with. You want to be in business with the people you know at the end of the day. You can have disagreements, you can have arguments. At the end of the day, we're going to have your back, and that's family. And not to say it's blood family either. Like, friends can be family. Like, Dre's my brother. You know what I mean? And, like, that's how I look at him. And that's why we were able to come together for this podcast, because I trust him. I know if he's going through something, he go, yo, Mark, I don't got it today, bro. No problem. If I call him, like, yo, I got to do something. No problem. And we trust each other that we will keep each other accountable. And I think that's where it is. And people don't realize how many of these, major conglomerates started out as family businesses as well. You know what I mean? So why not? Why not go at it with your family?
And I'm at the point where I'm trying not to cry. I think I'm gonna wrap it up on that. And the reason I want to wrap it up on that is this was what I was hoping to get out of this episode, right? A lot of people have been watching you for years, bro, but they get to see the on-camera Malcolm that's prepared and organized and ready to rock. But what I get to see behind the scenes is a guy who risked everything. He did it with his family. They trusted him not because they're family. They trusted you because you're on the ball and you were willing to lead, right? Think about how dope and how much we look up to your dad. And we both look at your dad, especially like as an outside looking in, not having much male figures. I look to your dad like, yo, he's the dopest dude on earth. To see him now be like, son, lead me. That's a whole different level of like respect in a way that we can't imagine. So that's what I was hoping to draw out of you, because I need people to understand that this course is made in blood, sweat, tears, and care. That means that if you pick this up and you go throughout the course and you take these steps, there's an opportunity for you at the end of the light, right? 2020 really did expose a lot. I've seen a lot of people falter in 2020. It was a devastating year for the economy, devastating year for a lot of people emotionally and mentally, right? But then to see your subscribership went up, it sucked. It was a difficult time, right? Especially what was going on with your pops and the stepmom. But to see you continue to flourish and continue to grow and continue to push and continue to be like, you know what, it's just a matter of time. And it was a matter of time. And now you got 6-figure companies rolling in, and you're just starting.
Listen, man.
You're just starting. You just got the traction that you needed to show that you're on the ball, bro.
Listen, man. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
Listen, man. And bro, man, me and my pops, my stepmother, we actually putting together like a behind the scenes little mini doc on what we go through. People don't listen, there's been times we had shows where my pops has quit the show like hours before. That's how bad of an argument we got in. And then we had to separate, come back, all right, let's get it. And people would never know. Like, people, I can't even point to the episode to where where we had those big fights, because on show We just locked in. Like we laughing together, and then like we make up. You know what I mean? And we've had to learn how, and it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? We've had to learn how to navigate that familial bond and the business aspect as well, the family of business and the business of family, as we call it. You know what I mean? Because there's certain things where, because he's my business partner, he'll ask me something like really personal that I'm not really talking to him about yet. You know what I'm saying? And we'll kind of go at it for that. And then I'm ready to talk about it. Because that's my pops. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does what the best for me. But at this point, like, I need you to be my business partner. I don't need you to. And then it was weird because even starting out, I didn't know how to even hold him accountable because it's my dad. You know what I'm saying?
I remember you were telling me that.
Yeah, like I didn't know, like, yo, how do you? And then he would just say, yo, listen, when we do in between these lines, like we played football, right? You know what I'm saying? In between these lines, it's game time. You know what I'm saying? So outside the lines, you know, I'm your dad, but in between these lines, we are business partners. So let it go, let it fly. And that has helped me in my journey. It's just, and I want people to experience that themselves. That's why, like, this course, like, and within our community, we have this stigma that the word scammer gets attached really easy. Mm-hmm. Again, something I'm very scared of. Like, I love, like, my name is my name. You know what I mean? So I wanted everything. I want it is all in this course. Like the supplies we use, the equipment, our exact setup, our exact frameworks for how we get this done. How this exact where we get our shirts. This is how we put together our designs. We take you through step by step through it all. Because I've spent some money on courses where I was like, I didn't get nothing out of that. Or I spent some money where I was like, that's what I want to model myself after. So we took our time with this. This was not rushed. This was, like you said, blood, sweat, and tears put into this. So many nights of doubt. So many days of like, is this gonna work? Like, are we even gonna continue the actual show? Are y'all gonna be up for it? Do you have the energy for this? Like, can y'all do this? Or like, bro, so much. And it's all here. And I'm super excited for you guys to see it. I'm super excited for you guys to learn from it. And we sent out some, testers to people, and some of the results that we got back, so people say, oh, this is excellent information. Like, this is wow. Like, I can really get started because I took this lesson, or wow, I never thought about it this way. Wow, this is a lot. I didn't realize how much you guys actually do. And it's not about us. It's about showing, piece by piece, how you can put this together with your people, or put this together with your friends, put this together with the people in your house, put this together with your kids. And I feel like we did that.
Exactly. And to end it, right, I have to throw this in there, and then I'll give you last remarks.
Okay.
The reason that I mentioned earlier, first investment in self, right? Malcolm and I have had several arguments on pricing out the course, right? And we settled on the price. And the reason that I said that is because in Malk's heart, Malk just wanted to give it away. It's like, yo, like, people are here, like, they want to learn. I just want to give it. And I told him that you're going to rob them of the experience of their first investment in self, right? That feeling of, I put up the money, similar to what you mentioned, that you and your dad and stepmom got together and said, hey, this is what the machine is going to cost. And I remember that. And I remember us talking about that. It's like, This is what the machine is going to cost, but it is going to help us in our business. So we need to make this decision and we need to make this investment. Right? Now imagine had they gave that to you for free, it would be, you wouldn't appreciate it as much. Right? Yeah. So now you're at the point where this information is critical. We're talking about price X for a lifetime of information that is applicable. There's not even a trade-off. It's not even a balance in that sense. And you get what I'm saying?
No, facts. And I'm, and this goes back into just, the entrepreneurial brain. Like, if you think by yourself too long, you start to second out everything that, you hold dear. And when you say it out loud like that, it's like no brainer. Like, why was I even no brainer? You know what I mean?
What are we even talking about?
What are we talking about? Exactly.
We're talking about a course that literally shows you how to build a family ecosystem that is 6 figures into the $1 million range
With bonuses, man.
with bonus. All right, that was my spiel.
With bonuses, man.
You know, I think that's it. I think they're ready for it.
So listen,
I think they're ready, Malk.
like I said, you can hit the link below to get started. To get the free ebook and the free training, www.urbanx.nyc/family. And like all we need is your email, and then you can get started with the free ebook and free training, and then you'll learn a lot more about the course and a lot more about why we chose these 4 pillars of online business and why they are crucial. And the ebook itself will help you add to those values as well, how you can create a long-lasting family business, because we don't just preach it, we live our raps. We do this. This is what we do. This is we don't make a living by teaching and stuff. We make a living by actually doing it, and we want to show people that too. We want to be an example of that. All right. So with that being said, this is the Real Revenue Show. I'm Malcolm. This is Andre. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.